We're back for Best Ball Breakfast. I'm Pete Overzet. Today we are going to draft a couple of big board teams on Underdog Fantasy. We, of course, have the free agency market mostly settled at this point. Last Monday when we had drafted, things were just getting underway. So much has changed since then. So we'll see how far Justin Fields can fall in a draft. Probably not far enough if my draft yesterday was any indication. But without further ado, it's time for Best Ball Breakfast. Let's roll.
My slow draft rooms are so much different than my streamed drafts.
Does no one realize Underdog's half-point PPR? Idiots!
Damn, bro. You know ball. Hope you guys packed your bags.
I packed my bags. No, I mean, I literally packed my bags. She kicked me.
Dude, Star Method's legit. Only way to max out every contest in a plus EV way.
Week 17, you still gotta get there, bro.
We have a finite sample. We only have so much samples.
Is it negative EV to stream all your drafts?
We just don't know.
All right, GMs all around. Chris, so hungover on a school day? Chris, it's Monday morning. You're getting after it on a Sunday? I guess it was bracket reveal night last night. Is that why you're out partying here? It was St. Patrick's Day. I didn't even remember that it was St. Patrick's Day yesterday. Okay. All right. You are now absolved of being hungover. I was like, what is going on a Sunday? The brackets? I think I've celebrated St. Patty's Days like twice in my life. I'll live vicariously through you guys. What is up, Mr. GM Sickos, GMs, Grand Rising. Wow, I haven't heard that one. I like that. Forget the GMs. Let's say Grand Rising. GM to the Scroll Kings. Yes, St. Patty's Day. Yes, smash that like and subscribe while you're here. I'm like, I've greatly reduced my alcohol consumption. I think I've had 3 or 4 drinks in the past month. I am on a sleep optimization journey. And because I can't get as many hours of sleep with the kid now, I'm trying to figure out how can I get better sleep. And so I'm on an experiment right now, cutting a lot of stuff out, seeing how it's going. TBD. I will let you know when I get some more data points. But yeah, have not missed alcohol, but it will get more tempting when it gets nicer out and summer and those Modelos start to tempt me with their siren song. Let's see here. I need to pour some coffee. On Mondays, if I start drinking coffee when I wake up, it means when I do my coffee on the show, I'll be on my 9th cup. So I'm saving myself for the show. You guys get the pure, raw, uncut first cup of coffee here for me. Let's do it. There it is. Pretty strong, hearty pour. This is what I see. Nice, Pete. I had 8 car bombs yesterday. 8 car bombs. That, if I recall correctly, back to my salad days in college, that would mess you up. 8 car bombs would mess you up here. Green noise is what you need for quality of sleep. Wow. I'll have to look into this. I am familiar with white noise. I have a white noise machine. I will need to figure out what green noise means. Is that a St. Patty's Day joke? Or is there actually a thing now called green noise? Purple Yosh rocking Best Ball Breakfast on the big screen. Then you're going to be able to see where I cut myself shaving right there. This is what you get if you watch Best Ball Breakfast in full 4K. The coffee pour ain't over till Pete takes a sip and goes, Yeah, people pointed that out last year. Some people got really mad about it, and now I just lean into it. There we go. A jolt of NyQuil. Now we're getting, everyone share their favorite hangover recipes in the chat. The last time I was hungover was, probably when I was with Underdog in Arizona at the Super Bowl. I started taking those liquid IV packs, which are just kind of like fancier Pedialyte. Those seem to do the trick. You do one of those before bed, one of them in the morning. That got me on the straight and narrow in a pretty good way here. I think it's like the thing that's hard with the St. Patty's Day, though. I mean, I feel like you should always just celebrate it on a Friday or Saturday. I mean, that's just, you're putting yourself between a rock and a hard place, having to deal with that hangover on a Monday. Don't you? Wouldn't you rather want to deal with that on like a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday? I don't know. That's just me. That is just me. But one of these days I will get back in those streets and celebrate St. Patrick's Day. I think it was always too, because even in college and right after college, it always coincided with March Madness, or was always close to March Madness. And I always saved my high leverage drinking times for watching the tournament. Like that opening day of the tournament, that Thursday and Friday, that was always my time to go hog wild. So I was always like, I'll sit out St. Patty's Day and I will delete some beers while watching the tournament. But I think it's time to rip a big board draft here. Enough pageantry. Let's get into the mix here. I am registered for a big board draft. I believe this is my 15th draft. I have been getting some non-stream drafts in. Did a couple cardio club drafts over the weekend. And excited to hop in here and see where the market is settling, considering how many kind of shifts we've had in ADP. This is now the part where it's going to be more or less a little bit of a lull, I think, ADP wise, until we get to the NFL draft. We got the two big shocks to the ADP system, the NFL Combine, which shook some things around, and then this entire past week of drafts. So I do have the rankings loaded in here. We can sort by ADP as well. I am curious, to see where Keenan Allen's going these days now on the Bears. Keenan Allen, ADP of 41.4. So he has dropped a decent bit, which I think is justified there for sure. Someone in the comments of one of my videos the other day told me they had 80% Joshua Palmer. It does look like Joshua Palmer is screaming up draft boards as the Chargers have basically just waved the white flag on the wide receiver position. We don't need Keenan Allen. We don't need Mike Williams. I understand they were in cap hell. I thought they would have found a way to keep Keenan Allen. I mean, obviously they're going to add someone in the draft, but right now, a two wide receiver set of of Quentin Johnson and Joshua Palmer, that's not necessarily the stuff dreams are made of. But Quentin Johnston still has a slightly higher ADP than Joshua Palmer. That's how we know the youth chasers are fighting the good fight on Underdog here. We also get the Justin Jefferson fall. He was forever a 101, 102, I guess 102. Christian McCaffrey normally going ahead of him, but he now slides to 106. I'm happy to take the Justin Jefferson dip here. I understand that there's a lot more uncertainty about him, but one of my kind of prevailing things is just wanting to bet on the best players before we have more information. I think there will be a time to kind of further dock Justin Jefferson once we actually know who their quarterback is going to be, who the starter is going to be, and then we can let that funnel into things. But it's if you told me you could get Justin Jefferson at 1.6 at any other period, I would be jumping all over that, and I'm going to jump over it right now. I don't think there's really that much reason for concern. I understand when you're taking a guy at 101, 102, you want that legendary outcome for just a massive season where he could potentially threaten for 2,000 yards and do all of that. But Justin Jefferson is so good. We saw him crush with Nick Mullins. Even if it is Sam Darnold, is Sam Darnold that big of a difference from a guy like Nick Mullins? And then on top of that, you got TJ Hawkinson, who is going to be slow to come back this year. I just think there's going to be a ton of targets for him. I don't think their identity is going to change that much. It's not like they've invested a ton in the running back position where that's going to be their identity. I don't know. I understand docking Justin Jefferson, but I'm sorry, I'm not taking Bijan Robinson over Justin Jefferson like this drafter in the 3-hole did. I'm staying the course there. JJ to JJ. Yeah, the JJ McCarthy stuff is interesting. I'm now starting to hear rumors like he could go as high as 4th overall. I guess one of the biggest rumors right now is the Cardinals potentially trading back out of that 4 slot for a team who presumably wants to come up and get JJ McCarthy. I am on the clock here. I don't love this range. I think I will just be the for some reason, I have a blind spot with just not wanting to select Diggs. I guess we could do JT, but I don't know. I kind of want to have a little fun. Let's take Kirk Cousins' old number 1 pass catcher and his new number 1 pass catcher. I'll take Drake London here, who I think is perfectly justifiable in the mid to late second at this point. I was going to pull up this rumor, though, that I was talking about. No. Where am I? This is in the Fantasy Life newsletter. I wrote this one today. You guys can always get this in your inbox for free. But here it is. Per ESPN's Matt Miller, the latest league-wide rumor has the Vikings trading to number 4 overall, where the Cardinals are in a sweet spot to trade out with a quarterback-needy team. That would be really interesting, too, because it would shake up a lot of the stuff with the wide receivers, right? Because people have been, writing in with pen the fact that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to go to the Cardinals at 4. That's interesting to think where he could go. I think the Chargers would sprint to the podium at 5 if Marvin Harrison Jr. was there. I actually looked yesterday to see if I could bet somewhere Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Chargers. I actually think that would be a nice one if you could make that bet. And it would kind of make sense if the Chargers were more willing to move on from Keenan, thinking, hey, we have a really good shot to get Marvin Harrison Jr. to be our replacement alpha. I kind of like the dot connecting going on there. Yeah, but doesn't it make so much sense? I mean, are they now, outside of the Chargers, the Patriots, who did just sign KJ Osborne, same difference. The Patriots they love drafting Kendrick Bourne and getting, I can't even say their names correctly, KJ Osborne, because they're all the same fucking guy. But yeah, the Patriots, I saw Rudman post a mock where they just took like 3 wide receivers in the 2nd round, and they do really need to do that. They need to spray and pray on some talent, but Harrison going to the Chargers makes almost too much sense here. All right, we're about to pick in the 3rd round at 3-6. We started Justin Jefferson and Drake London. Yesterday, I drafted a team from the back end of the board, so I was at the 3-4 turn. I took Josh Jacobs there, but I'm not going to take Josh Jacobs over Waddle and Neighbors. I'm going to go ahead and grab Waddle here. So we'll start Justin Jefferson, Drake London, and Jalen Waddle. Yeah, Ken Tompkins, Aaron Dobson, spray and pray. It is a religion. Ooh, Hoosiers. I got MJH at 5th pick at plus 1,200. That is a smash bet there. That is a smash bet. I don't think it's too early for Neighbors. I do think I just slightly prefer Jalen Waddle at these prices. We are indeed live. Sam Laporta going in the late 3rd. I do wonder, I think I had floated this take, I forget if it was on Ship Chasing or something, but I then saw one of the draft nicks mentioning it too, that I wonder if some of these wide receivers end up all shifting down just a little bit, whereas they end up focusing on the depth of the class and saying, why should I take this guy? Why should I take Rome Odunze at 1.8 or whatever if I can just get, Brian Thomas later, or if I can get Xavier Worthy later? And then you can just play that thought experiment down the road where you're just kicking the can down the road and saying, holy cow, the 2nd round is just stuffed with high pedigree wide receivers. Maybe I'll go a different position. I think that could be an interesting dynamic, but you could also see kind of like a FOMO effect too, where if 1 or 2 come off the board, then everyone's looking around like, okay, no, I'm not going to play a game of chicken with these rookie wide receivers. I'm going to go get mine right now. All right, we are at pick 43. I normally do not see Devonta Smith available here. He has an ADP of 38, falls 4 picks. I'll happily grab Devonta Smith here. Wouldn't mind grabbing James Cook. I don't believe I have a share of him yet. Maybe one. But yeah, pretty classic piss boy start here, but couldn't pass up on the Devonta Smith value. You used to, back in my day, you had to spend a second round pick on Jaylen Waddle and Devonta Smith. Now you can get Waddle in the 3rd and Devonta in the 4th. Pretty fun start there. J. Jeff, Drake London, Jaylen Waddle, Devonta Smith. Interesting note to this draft here. Derrick Henry goes before Josh Jacobs. It's funny, too. I wrote the article last week for Fantasy Life looking at the risers. So I think I locked this in on like Thursday afternoon. And it's interesting to already see how much the ADPs have risen even since I locked this in. You know, Josh Jacobs went from 59 to 42. And what is Jacobs at right now? Jacobs up to 35. So he's up another 7 spots since I wrote this. Derrick Henry went from 62 to 48. Henry now up to 39. Wow. Okay. I did not realize that. So Henry has flipped Jacobs in a, no. Jacobs is still ahead. He had just flipped him in this draft. I knew we were going to be headed here with Jacobs and Henry. I guess I was just surprised that it happened this quickly to see Derrick Henry back in the 3rd round. I don't even think it's that insane. But I do think it's crazy to take Henry over Jacobs right now. I just think with Jacobs, you're going to get similar touchdown expectancy, better chance to catch passes, all of that good stuff. And it looks like I am going to like the tight end I get here, depending on what Biff does. I will take either Andrews or McBride. Interesting. Are there any other considerations here? I don't know if I've had this choice yet where I have to choose between McBride and Andrews. Pat has Andrews slightly ahead. The ADP says McBride is the slightly better value. I think I kind of prefer McBride, or I just want to load up my bags on McBride a little bit more. But this is probably one of my most ideal starts in a big board draft, to start Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Jaylen Waddle, Devonta Smith, and Trey McBride. That feels pretty good. Yeah, we had to. Pat's still pushing his big Mark Andrews agenda. Can't wait to see the ADP in August. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is the market with running backs in general gets more overconfident the closer we get, and rightfully so. We have more information. We're going to have the draft. We're going to understand how these depth charts are shaking out. We're going to know, did Josh Jacobs or Derrick Henry or Joe Mixon or whoever, did they get more competition for touches in the draft? How that breaks is going to push those guys up in either direction. So the fact that they're already up here means there's definitely room for more. Like, it will not shock me whatsoever if Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry are back in round 2, even middle of round 2 picks by August. That wouldn't shock me whatsoever. Danny says, can y'all take it easy on your big board entries? I'm not drafting during Lent and it's filling up fast lately. I'm behind everyone too. This is my 15th draft. And I believe when I checked this morning, we're at like 60% full. Yeah, 60% full, 59.2%. So you'll still have some time. It seems, if my fill rate is correct, I believe when I looked last week, we were about 50%, I want to say. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. So if we are on that pace, about 10% a week, I think is what we're averaging with the fill rate. By the way, I am going to have another video out on the Deposit Kingdom channel this week. Hopefully you guys didn't miss the Scroll the F Down video titled How to Outsmart ADP. I think I have that pinned in the chat and in the description. Going to have a bunch of videos over on the Deposit Kingdom channel. This channel will always be here. This is for the live streams, of course, over on the Deposit Kingdom channel, the pre-recorded videos. And I reached out to a bunch of the streamers, a bunch of people drafting a ton of teams, asked them for their favorite big board tips. So I'm going to compile those into a video that should be out on the Deposit Kingdom channel later this week. All right. Am I going to go ahead and select a Joe Mixon here? I'm just going to see. Pat has him as the top ranked running back here by ADP. it's Aaron Jones. You know what? Yeah, that's interesting. By ADP, it's Jones. Jones pairs me. I think I'm going to go Jones. Because I have Justin Jefferson. Otherwise, I was going to grab Mixon there. Obviously, I think the range of outcomes for those guys is fairly similar. I guess you could maybe argue that Mixon right now has less competition, but I'm not convinced that the Texans are done, with that backfield. Whereas I feel like the Vikings probably aren't going to devote too much more capital to it beyond Aaron Jones, Ty Chandler. But I could see the Texans feeling like they're completely out on Dameon Pierce, grabbing a back, probably not a day 2 back, but maybe a day 3 guy. And I just feel more confident in Aaron Jones's talent at this point. And I am trying to just kind of like break all of my ties in the big board draft in favor of talent right now. And going back to that thing, there will be a time in these drafts where, hey, the projectable volume, the depth chart, it's so obvious that I feel more confident making that play. But I just feel like there's more risks associated with Joe Mixon's projected touches right now than Aaron Jones. And knowing that Aaron Jones can still get there via efficiency through the passing game in ways Joe Mixon has just not shown for a while. I appreciate the comments about the video, guys. Yeah, this is my exact thing. Tyler says here, Houston said they wanted at least 2 dudes coming in, so they will definitely get a guy above Dame in the backfield. And like that can break both ways, right? They might wait until the 6th round or, not invest much. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, they're just going to trust Mixon every down. I will skew my decisions accordingly then. But if they bring in one of these intriguing rookies, I think it really complicates that ADP. All right, we are about to pick here. I can't bring myself to click Kamara in pretty much any instance. I don't see anything that I need to stack necessarily here. Wide receiver gets wiped off the board as Hopkins come off. By ADP, I think I do like David Montgomery. I'm probably a little higher on David Montgomery than Pat is in his ranks. I guess Pat, it's not too different. He's just so bullish on Warren, but I've selected Warren a ton. I still like David Montgomery and that touchdown expectation there. He's just a guy that's felt like a comfy click in these 0 RB builds. I also kind of get some of my divisional correlation. It's a little bit of the gal brain stuff when it involves the running backs, but Minnesota, Detroit. Yeah, Pat has Jaylen Warren. He's had him significantly ahead of ADP. So if you are drafting off of the leg up rankings, you will end up with a ton of Jaylen Warren. And don't get me wrong, I like Jaylen Warren. I'm excited about him. I think he's very well priced. But I also don't want to be in that territory where I'm just clicking the same guy over and over again, because I don't think, his contingent upside, I guess you could argue, is a little higher than Montgomery's. But I mean, we've also seen Montgomery without Jahmyr Gibbs. We know the team trusts him enough to be on the field for most downs there too. So I don't know if they're that different of just kind of like probabilistic best, both on the median and the high end. I do grant Jaylen Warren has a higher end outcome just because of his profile, a little bit younger, all of that stuff, but don't want to be too heavily concentrated on one specific running back bet in this range, which I believe was what Billy over on Spike Week had an article about this. And coincidentally, it was about Jaylen Warren being a fixture on 0 RB teams last year because 0 RB drafters tended to like Jaylen Warren. He often fit the build based on where you were drafting, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I would say it's only a bad thing if your entire 0 RB portfolio hinges on the success of Jaylen Warren, where you're wanting to let that structure be the selling point and then mix and match and cycle through different running backs you like there. But I think if you were just autopilot drafting, you would end up with a ton of Jaylen Warren otherwise. All right. Is this going to be another running back pick? I don't love this range here. Need to check in on quarterback stuff. When do I pick next? I pick next at 102. You know what? I have not selected James Conner yet, and we can do another little pairing. He's not my preferred type of candidate here. I'm having a pretty old running back room, but similar to the Aaron Jones pick paired with Justin Jefferson, I'm going to lean into a little team level correlation here. Grab James Conner with Trey McBride. It's funny, like both Aaron Jones and James Conner, typically would fall into that profile that gives you the spooks a little bit. Older back, who had some decent volume down the stretch, and now they're getting thrust up. And yet they're going in a very palatable range in the 7th and 8th round. And both of them were good last year. I mean, James Conner down the stretch was a monster. So yeah, I mean, if we're going to get an offensive boost here, they do get a wide receiver. Kyler gets kind of back in the flow of things, and they don't spend significant capital on a running back. James Conner could be certainly a value add. I do worry a little bit about his late season viability here, but we'll be able to grab some youth on the back end of this draft if we need. Wow. Look at the one hole. Jay Green going Trey Benson and Jonathan Brooks at the 8-9 turn. Man, I think I'm out on those prices. Benson at 111 ADP, Brooks at 120, and they go at 96, 97. I understand it. If you're Jay Green, you say, look, I'm picking at 120 next. There's no chance, or probably very little chance, either of these guys come back. But I would almost just say, hey, I'll live to not have these guys on my team, or I can live with it this draft, and knowing, hey, next time I pick in the middle of the board, I can get them at 115 or something. But man, Benson, Brooks at the 8-9 turn ahead of guys like Brian Robinson. That's tough. All right, I'm going to keep doing the same click that I'm making until he is above a top 100 pick. I am going to continue to select Xavier Worthy. Right after I said, hey, that's a little rich for Benson and Brooks, but I feel very strongly about Xavier Worthy's draft capital, and that's one of those ADP inefficiencies that I'm not scared to kind of continue to push the chips in over and over on Xavier Worthy. So I grab him at 102. Let's do a little recap of the team so far. No quarterbacks yet. We got 3 running backs, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, and James Conner. And we got 5 wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, Xavier Worthy, our most recent selection, then Trey McBride anchoring it here. Can someone explain why Burrow is sliding so much? I'm honestly not sure. I think it often has to do with stacking dynamics, or at least that's what would happen last year in Best Ball Mania, where a lot of times, so look at this here. So Biff Tannen takes Josh Allen in the 3rd, and then where's the T. Higgins drafter? Can we find the T. Higgins drafter? Why can't I find T. Higgins on this board right now? Someone tell me where T. Higgins is. Oh, there he is. Yeah, and then the T. Higgins drafter took Patrick Mahomes. So I think this is the exact style of draft where he's going to slip. If the Higgins and Chase drafters take a different quarterback, then you're not getting the enthusiasm for the stack. I love this crystal ball. Worthy is going in the 2nd round. I'll bet on that. And not doing anything in the NFL. That's a wild take. And he's going to the Panthers. Wow. Bills Mafia. I need your crystal ball. You would help me in all of my drafts. If you could tell me the exact, not only the exact round, but also the exact spot and the entire trajectory of their career. All right, so Kirk Cousins goes at pick 110. I would have been interested, obviously, in stacking Drake London with Kirk Cousins. But I feel good about waiting on quarterback because now I'm in a pretty nice quarterback range here. Justin Herbert obviously sliding with their lack of weapons. Probably going to end up just taking Tua here to stack with Jalen Waddle. Let's see, as far as other stacking candidates, I guess I don't have any other obvious stacking candidates right now. Kyler's gone. Obviously, Jalen Hurts is gone. Kirk is gone. So we'll just lock up our first quarterback. Tua falls a little bit past ADP in the 10th round. Likely going to be on a 3 quarterback trajectory here. I love how everyone acts like Tua's undraftable now. Tua is who Tua is. And at pick 115, he's certainly in the mix here with Kirk and all of these other guys. I do think buying the dip on Herbert at a certain point makes some sense. ADP of 102, he's on the board here at 120. He's another guy like Burrow, though, right? Where there's 2 reasons he's falling. One, because everyone's worried about the weapons and them not passing a lot, which is a very valid concern. But I think he also falls further past ADP because now the stacking options are gone. There's no more Keenan Allen drafter who's willing to take him there. So then the people selecting Justin Herbert are setting up a backdoor stack. Because think about it this way. Like say the Chargers do get Marvin Harrison. The Marvin Harrison drafter will start taking Justin Herbert higher, if we get that pairing. And I just noticed Marvin Harrison went to Copper at the 1-2 turn. But Marvin Harrison to the Chargers, I think immediately would put Justin Herbert back up 20 picks from where he went here. He'd probably start going back where Kyler would, almost exclusively because of that stacking dynamic. And then in the drafts where the Marvin Harrison drafter doesn't get Herbert, then you would probably see him slide again. All right, I'm at 126 here. I could do something with Jared Goff if I want to just piece together my statue quarterback room. I do have David Montgomery there. I don't necessarily mind. I'm trying to see the QB board. It does start to thin out a little bit here. I think I'm going to grab Jared Goff, top of the board here, and a little team level correlation with Montgomery. There's also always some fringe flyers that I can draft late. You got all the better and best ball guys, Josh Reynolds, DPJ, Khalif Raymond. Because I was destined for a 3 quarterback build here as is. And then you really get into dicey territory. Where do you guys think Justin Fields should go now? I wrote in the newsletter today the range I think he should go. Like, I don't think he should probably be selected until this, like, Gardner Minshew range. Where it's like even Bryce Young, Bryce Young has a very high probability of starting the entire season. I just don't know how you can take him at these prices. I mean, Pat just nuked him in the rankings, which I do think is right. Like, if you look at Pat's rankings here, he now has him, just after Daniel Jones, slightly ahead of Gardner Minshew, which seems just about right. But because the ADP is so sticky, it's going to take a little while, I think, for Fields to fall all the way there. When I wrote up this recap piece about Fields falling, he was at 104 and he was QB 16. This morning, he was at QB 18. So even that was like 4 days ago, I wrote that. So he's only fallen a couple of spots since then, which seems kind of crazy. Damn. I was going to grab Jalen Wright, try to get a little youth in my room here. I don't really want to do Ty Chandler. I don't really want to do hand-cucking at this price. I'll let the chat decide, although you guys are going to have to be quick. I didn't leave you much time. Roman Wilson or Xavier Legette? I think I'll just go Roman here because I'm not going to get enough time for you guys, for your guys' polls to come in. All right, we grabbed Roman Wilson. All right, chat agrees. Chat likes Roman. Roman. All right. So we got a 2-3-6-1 right now. We got Tua and Goff at quarterback, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, James Conner at running back. Look at that AARP room. Wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, Xavier Worthy, and Roman Wilson. Tight end, Trey McBride. I will say, like, structurally, this has been the type of build I like doing. Obviously, 0 RB, but keeping a couple of bullets in the wide receiver chamber for the Xavier Worthy and Roman Wilson selections. Knowing that this pocket of the draft here with some of these rookie wide receivers is very bountiful, knowing that, hey, you can grab 3 running back picks in this range. Took 3 running backs between pick 67 and 91. Get a couple slight values on the quarterbacks. And then we got our anchor tight end in Trey McBride. Certainly don't feel boxed out anywhere. Look at this. Look at these facts. You only have to be 18 to get an AARP membership. The more you know. I like Pearsall too, but he's much cheaper. Yeah, the Hoosier says Legette solely for his post-game interviews. We watched that on the Swolecast. I had not seen that yet. Kitchen had us pull it up. Just like the deepest Southern drawl. I was saying that I want Legette to get drafted by the Chiefs, not because it would be a hashtag great fit, just because I want a Patrick Mahomes, Xavier Legette podcast. It'd be one of the most interesting auditory experiences ever. Having Kermit the Frog, Patrick Mahomes paired with Xavier Legette. All right, we're about to pick here in the middle of the 13th round. I think I'm going to grab Marshawn Lloyd, try to get some youth in this running back room. I don't think there's anything else here by ADP that I necessarily need to do. We'll go ahead and grab Marshawn Lloyd. We're just going to end up with an age-polarized running back room where Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, James Conner, you guys do the damn thing. I don't know, weeks 1 through 14. Just get me there. Get me to the dance. And by then, our diaper dandies will be old enough to drive, and we'll hand them the keys to the car. Let's see what our friends are doing in this draft. Also, I need to pour some more coffee. Copper prices did Gibbs, Marvin Harrison Jr. Also, saying copper prices reminded me at the beginning of the show, I'm scrolling up here. Copper said, I would like to formally request a Deposit Kingdom bracket pool with first getting a Best Ball Breakfast pint glass. Please respond. This is me responding. I am going to spin up a Deposit Kingdom March Madness bracket contest. I will share that link in the Discord later today. And yeah, we'll get some gift cards to the store. If anyone else has any other prizes that they would like to contribute, feel free to hit me up. And yeah, we'll get that going. And yes, you can use your winnings on pint glasses. We also do have the new Scroll the F Down merch. I think you can see some of that down below if you're watching live on YouTube. We got the Scroll the F Down pint glass, mug, coffee mug, and a shirt in both white and gray. I like how that logo turned out. So you can grab your Scroll the F Down merch now while supplies last. I think supplies should be fine. All right, we are about to pick. Tyler Algier comes off the board here. I think I'm going to go ahead and grab my other running back that I keep getting hearing steam about. Braelon Allen, I know Davis loves him. I know JJ's model likes him a decent bit. He's up here ADP wise. Pat's ranks do have Eli Mitchell slightly ahead, but I'm trying to get some of this second half youth movement on this team. And we have almost completed the yin yang, the old young of this running back room. Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, James Conner, now Marshawn Lloyd, and Braelon Allen. All right, Tyler is contributing a free month of OnlyFans. What's the price, Tyler? What can we value that prize at? I think the Cowboys drafting a running back on day 2 seems like a virtual lock at this point. If Jerry has it his way, he'd move up into the late first just to lock him up. I kind of want that for fantasy chaos too, just because whoever the Cowboys draft, assuming that it's a top 75 pick or whatever, that player is going super high in dynasty drafts, going to go super high in redraft, going to push down some of the other guys there. So I hope Jerry starts to get that trigger finger. Like I said on Chip Chasing, like the free agency period felt a lot like these GMs who were trying out zero RB for the first time and then panicked and they're like, here's a bunch of money. We got to have our running back heading into the NFL draft. Jerry's sitting around right now, like all the other guys capitulated and took their first running back in the 4th round. They're like, I don't care. It's the dead zone. I can't go any longer with a running back. And Jerry's out here in the 5th round, and now he's looking around. Jerry's palms are starting to get sweaty. He's like, I don't know if I can push it to the 7th, guys. I don't know if I can push it. Trade up into the 1st and draft Braelon Allen. Jerry wants to make a running back splash more than anything. You just know it. All right, where are we at structurally? 2, 5, 6, 1 through 14 rounds. Pretty decent shape balance-wise. I mean, tight end can get really dicey in this stage of the draft, but we have some options here. Do you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I know what I'm going to do. Everyone in the chat wants the Cowboys to bring back Zeke. I have drafted Zeke now a couple times. I think Tyler bullied me into it the last time, and then I did it once on my own. I think what I'm going to do here, I'm going to live a little. We'll see what Biff Tannen does. But, Tua is definitely a guy I would prefer to double stack. And this is actually a really, I think, one of the bigger takeaways from the scroll the F down as I'm about to select Jonnu Smith here is when you think about scrolling the F down, you don't have to think about it through the lens of ADP. Because if you thought about it through the lens of ADP, you'd see, okay, Jonnu Smith, ADP of 185. That means he's getting drafted in every contest. He's not that different than all these other tight ends, yada, yada. But because Jonnu Smith wasn't getting drafted at the beginning of the contest until he signed with Miami, there were a ton of these early drafts through the first, 40% of the contest, 45% of the contest where he wasn't getting drafted. So if you looked at his overall draft percentage right now, Jonnu Smith has a far less draft frequency than someone like Jawan Johnson, who's been getting drafted in the same range the entire contest. So even though the ADPs are similar, the overall draft percentage is a fraction of it, which makes those guys screaming targets. So it was an obvious tiebreaker for me there. Not only am I getting a guy who hasn't been drafted in 100% of these, but I'm also getting him stacked with Tua. And if I'm riding with Tua, it would be nice to have a couple of pass catchers there. So now we got the Tua, Waddle, and Jonnu stack there. All right, coffee time. All right, back on the clock in the 16th round here. Let's see. We could do a third tight end. We could do a Jatavian Sanders if we wanted. We could also grab a running back here. I don't think a Rico Dowdle is the worst kind of pick. I don't know if I've selected Rico yet. We've been talking about the Cowboys. Let's do Rico. I mean, no one has delusions of Rico being the running back one. You know, in the same way people were drafting Ty Chandler, Zamir White, being like, hey, there's a thin chance they could, in fact, be the RB1 for their team. Rico's not being priced like that. He's obviously being priced as the number 2. But if we're thinking about it through the lens of, in this range of the draft, we're just trying to correctly guess which guys are actually running back 2 on the depth chart. It's why Pat has Izzy Abanikanda up here, feeling pretty good about him being Breece Hall's direct backup. I kind of like Rico Dowdle as just a pure contingent running back play. We know that offense can support running back production. Rico looked pretty good, efficient, better than Tony Pollard at a lot of times last year. Who knows? Maybe they get a guy like Jonathan Brooks, who is coming off ACL. Maybe he's not ready early in the year. Maybe they lean on the veteran a little bit more. I don't know. I'm talking myself into Rico Dowdle right now. What's wrong with Rico? Free agent. I think they're going to I thought I heard that they're going to bring him back on the cheap. But even if you're it definitely would be a bummer if Rico was not back on the Cowboys. But I thought I saw the report that he was going to return. It's definitely less strong if he's not on the Cowboys. Let me see if I can find that tweet. I love the first article that I found. The Dallas Cowboys have had a quiet start to free agency, much to the ire of Cowboys fans nationwide. See, this is why Jerry's going to get trigger fingers. All right, we are back on the clock. You know what I think I'm going to do as my third QB? I think I'm going to do JJ McCarthy. I think there's a decent chance he ends up on the Vikings. We've made that bet. I don't really feel like I want to just rock a Tua Jared Goff 2 QB build. That feels a little thin. And on top of it, we get kind of the galaxy brain McCarthy to Aaron Jones and Justin Jefferson connection. And at this point, I feel like the projected draft capital on JJ McCarthy has just done a 180 from where it was even a month ago. Whereas like, oh, back into round 1 pick. Oh, wow. Now he's in the top 10. And it's like, okay, he's in top 10, but what if he lands in a situation where he's not starting the entire year? That could be kind of dicey. And now if these rumors are true that he's going to be a top 5 guy, that someone's going to trade up for him that early, it seems like we can start to have a pretty high degree of confidence that JJ McCarthy is going to play, 17 games this season or start 17 games. So we'll go ahead and take him at 198. I mean, once we're in this range here, Daniel Jones comes off the board, Bryce Young, Russell Wilson, obviously no guarantees he plays the full season. Based on how that pick swap works with Russell Wilson, or with the Justin Fields trade, where the 6th round pick converts to a 4th round pick, if Justin Fields plays 51% of the snaps this season, and when you combine it with kind of the rhetoric of the Steelers essentially saying, hey, we got our quarterback for the now in Russell Wilson and our quarterback of the future in Justin Fields, it seems like their plan would be later in the season, after week 10, whatever wouldn't trigger the 4th round selection, that's when they turn over the keys to Justin Fields to put enough on tape to see if they feel comfortable rolling with him into 2025, which then puts Russell Wilson's starting job in a very precarious position. Because I think the only way Russell then holds on to it is if he's playing super well and the Steelers have a winning record. But if there's any shakiness there, if they're not in the playoff hunt, I mean, how do you not turn to Justin Fields then and get him those reps in advance of the 2025 season? You know what other guy I've been wanting to take some more is Jalen McMillan. I keep hearing JJ, when he's been doing his podcast recently, saying how much he likes Jalen McMillan as a slot guy. So I've been trying to get a little bit more of Jalen McMillan tailing JJ on that. And of course, paying homage to Gretch and his Washington Huskies. That 51% bonus clause did feel so dirty. That's what I agree. And I think it's so wild that, and I wrote about this in the newsletter this morning, where did you guys see this report from Courtney Cronin saying the Bears turned down an offer with stronger draft capital because they wanted to do right by Justin Fields? It's like they're basically trying to spin it as the team who offered better compensation had a more established starter. It's like you could maybe buy that if they sent him somewhere where Justin Fields was going to be the unquestioned starter. But if they send him somewhere he's going to be a backup, where the team is saying, hey, Russell Wilson's our starter, there's no competition, and we can talk about whether we believe them or not. But it's like, you were really doing right by Justin Fields. What's the difference of sending him behind that entrenched starter versus sending him to Pittsburgh behind another entrenched starter, other than, that long-term stuff? But I just miss me with that bullshit of doing right by Fields and taking less compensation. These are billion-dollar franchises, and you're trying to save a little face, mend a relationship with Justin Fields. Like, the damage has been done. What are we even doing here? I called cap on that one. Yeah, I agree. There's no, the only way it happens is there's two ways, right? It's Russ just absolutely implodes at the start. If Russ implodes and is playing the worst football of his life, the cries for Justin Fields will be too loud, or he gets hurt. I think those are the only two ways. But I do agree. I think it would take like near catastrophic play from Russ for them to expedite that timeline. All right. Man, seeing Zach Ertz and Dawson Knox up here really offends me. You know what? I kind of want to be a Mike Gesicki slappy. I have not taken him in the big board yet. I know Pat has him lower in the ranks. I feel like this is probably a 3 tight end team. Trey McBride, Jonnu Smith. I'm going to grab Mike Gesicki, see if he can be what we all wanted Irv Smith to be. And then we'll grab another running back or wide receiver to stick the landing. I don't know. I guess that could have been a running back. That would have been the only other thing. I think it was close, because I think my last pick is going to be a wide receiver. I think it was close between going a 7th running back or 3rd tight end there. What do you think? Should I have gone 7th running back? I guess Gainwell, Zeke. Hello, Paul. Yeah, this is what the talent evaluators are telling me about McMillan. So much talent. And I do think the stuff about playing alongside dominant teammates, like if you can have any kind of hint or glimmer on your production profile while still playing alongside another guy who's going to go on to get drafted so early, I feel like we've just seen that play out so many times with whether it's the Alabama wide receivers, obviously the Ohio State guys. There was that string of Clemson wide receivers back in the day. So to know that he was competing for targets with Rome Odunze, with Polk, and still was productive, I think is pretty promising, because then you can extrapolate and say, hey, if he was the focal point of an offense somewhere else, what would his profile have looked like in that, where you're almost getting maybe a bit of a hidden discount relative to playing alongside such an elite talent in Rome Odunze. I think I'm just going to take one of my Detroit guys. This might be the chance to practice some scrolling down, though. Josh Reynolds, DPJ, Khalif Raymond. I guess all of their DPJ and Khalif Raymond have a significantly an ADP that indicates that they're drafted at a far less frequent clip. Because I think this is one of those times about, like, when we talk about scroll the F down, and if I'm really trying to practice what I'm preaching, if you are in autopilot mode, you just queue up Josh Reynolds. He's definitely the comfiest of the clicks of those guys. But relative to big board ADP, Josh Reynolds is getting selected at a much higher clip, and DPJ and Khalif Raymond are going undrafted. So I'm obviously doing this to stack up with Jared Goff. I think I lightly prefer Khalif Raymond than DPJ. And again, it's a thin bet in that there's no true breakout potential with a Khalif Raymond. It's more a contingent upside or getting a spike week there, trying to get that stack with Jared Goff, similar thing. But the big selling point is getting a guy who is undrafted in these contests and knowing, hey, is Josh Reynolds that different of a projection bet than Khalif Raymond? Probably not. And one of them's getting drafted. I would guess Josh Reynolds is what, like 70, 75%. He's certainly not getting drafted in every one of these, but at a very good clip. Whereas DPJ and Khalif Raymond are not getting drafted whatsoever. I didn't even know Traquan Smith is on the signed with the Lions. The more you know. All right, this team is in the books. Let's recap this one. At quarterback, we went with a three-headed monster, Tua double stacked, Jared Goff double stacked, and then playing a little JJ McCarthy Galaxy Brain to the Vikings double stack. There, the running backs, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, James Conner, Marshawn Lloyd, Braelon Allen, and Rico, who has not officially re-signed with the Cowboys. Dowdle. I will definitely take the L on that. If he doesn't re-sign with the Cowboys, that would be a misstep. Otherwise, let me go back here to the team. The wide receivers, definitely love this wide receiver room. Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, Xavier Worthy, Roman Wilson, Jalen McMillan, and Khalif Raymond. And then our tight end room, Trey McBride, Jonnu Smith, and Mike Gesicki, 3683 build. Don't mind it. Don't mind that one. Would have been nice to maybe feather in one more interesting running back in that room, I think. But otherwise, I think it broke pretty nice. Let's see here. All right, that was my 15th draft in the books here. Let me take a minute to reset myself. What am I doing here? Where am I? There we are. And then we will get going here again. Like I said, I'm going to be working on a big board video that'll pop up on the Deposit Kingdom channel later this week. If you guys haven't subscribed over there, please do. Would really appreciate it. Going to hopefully be making weekly or near weekly videos over on that channel, trying to run that channel up as well with some non-live stream content. And I have just hopped in a draft here. Tipped you guys off in the chat. Let's see. All right, we got, what draft slot do we have? I see G's in here. Spags is in here. Yeah, oh, I got the 111 for my second draft. I need to update my banner, and I'm going to be on top of it this time. I'm not even going to have to get reminded to play the Ducks. I'm going to play the Ducks unprompted. Ducks being fed. Beautiful Monday morning. The brackets are set. We're drafting big board teams. Free agency is mostly settled. And what are we? We're about, 6 weeks out from the NFL draft? Maybe 5.5 at this point. I think that's probably right. 5.5 weeks from the NFL draft. This is an interesting question. Would you rather back up Hurts, Anthony Richardson, or Russ as Fields? I think I would rather back up Anthony Richardson. Well, man, that is tough. That is a really good one. I love that one because if you go Anthony Richardson, Richardson probably has the highest likelihood of getting injured just the way he plays, and he's still going to run a lot early in his career. So probably your best chance at immediate starts. Behind Jalen Hurts, though, you don't have as much of that maybe injury out, but maybe because Hurts is older, but there's obviously no chance that you're ever surpassing Hurts. Man, that is tough. That is tough. What do you guys think? What would Fields' ideal spot be knowing he was a backup? We're about to pick at 111 here. We got 3 running backs on the board. Let's see. I'm going to grab Garrett Wilson, and then we'll see if we want to take a running back here when they come back. What are these rumors? Did I miss a good rumor? Is Debo expected to be out right now? Nothing's popping up in Twitter search. So what's this rumor? Oh, here you go. Is this it? The Ravens have reached out to the 49ers about a trade. This was what, a week ago? I don't know. This doesn't seem very reputable. Wow, Golf going Nico Collins at 12. And Taylor, all right. Yeah, I was thinking about grabbing Gibbs first. I do not believe I have many shares of Gibbs. I actually want to go see if I have any Gibbs right now. So we start Garrett Wilson and Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah, no Gibbs yet. Okay, that's fun. Actually, this hadn't refreshed yet. Let me see. Up to 15. Let me check again. Yeah, no Gibbs. So I get my first Gibbs share. Only 15 teams deep. So my ownership percentages are pretty, I guess you could say bloated. But Xavier Worthy, 53.3%. Trey McBride, 40%. Tank Dell, 40%. How do I have 40% to Mario Douglas? Dylan Loeb, 40%. You love to see it. Josh Downs, Jalen Wright, Marshawn Lloyd, Jonathan Brooks, Jalen Waddle, David Montgomery, my other most drafted. I guess I have spread out my bets enough around Jaylen Warren that he's below even Montgomery. Or I guess they're tied. They're both 26.7%. Yeah, the Debo on the Ravens would be nuts. Man, that would be a pretty big hit for Zay Flowers, though, right? Because that's essentially how they were using Zay. They were scheming him up all those touches near the line of scrimmage, really low ADOT. I guess it did kind of increase toward the end of the season. But I don't know how that would certainly hurt Zay Flowers' touch projection. Has Kerrane explained why he's so high on Achane with Mostert still on the roster? I'm happy to be high on him. Yeah, I am too. I think it's just purely an efficiency and unicorn type bet. Like, is it really that different than the Jahmyr Gibbs stuff? I know Gibbs is bigger, but it's like saying, you know, why are we still taking Gibbs at the 1-2 turn when Montgomery's there? It's just Gibbs is so explosive and so efficient on a per touch basis that you know he can deliver week winning performances, even on 15 touches a game. I think that's just the Achane thesis there as well. And I think even, Gibbs, I do think could probably hold up to a little bit more of a workload. And we saw it during the stretch Montgomery was out. Whereas Achane, I think we're kind of hoping that he's always, I don't think we want Achane to be a 20-plus touch guy. Like when you draft in there, you are hoping for that, 15 high-value touches, big plays used in the receiving game, and kind of complementing a big bruiser back who's going to get all the low-value touches. But yeah, I think the Achane thing, like for me, it's just a unicorn thesis. I mean, just a very, very special talent with a coach that knows how to utilize him. And when you try to think what are the things that are replaceable later in the draft, like, yeah, you can find volume at the position in the 6th and 7th round, but it's hard to find guys who are capable of dropping 35 or 40 points. And like Achane's one of 4 to 5 running backs in the league who has just that meteoric ceiling on a given week. So I get it. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, they're different bets, and that's why Gibbs is going ahead of Achane, and I think that's justifiable because the contingent upside is bigger. Like if David Montgomery goes down, like Gibbs could challenge CMC for RB1. Whereas even when Mostert went down, there's going to be another back coming in there. But it is just that week-to-week ceiling for Achane. It's nuts. He really is kind of like the perfect best ball selection. And you saw him giving the DFS community fits this year, right? There was half the people who said, "Oh my God, he's the worst play on the board," and then it was basically the IQ curve meme, where on both the low and the high end of the curve, it was just Devon Achane go Burr, and in the middle, it was like, oh well, he could get a 0 at 30% ownership. All right, Metcalf goes. I was going to select Metcalf there. Should we mix it up? Should we do like an elite QB build? Man, am I wild for preferring Lamar to Hurts right now? All right, we're gonna make that click. What am I missing here? Why is Jalen Hurts going over Lamar? The Eagles were really bad down the stretch. I think you could argue too, like there's been lots of arguments about the tush push stuff in both directions. I think it's very clear that Barkley will probably get more goal line looks, more red zone touches than any back that's played alongside Hurts thus far. Their offensive line isn't quite as good. I don't know. I think I feel better about Lamar and the state of the Ravens right now than I do. Let's see here. I'm just going to dance around the board right now. I'm going to live a little. I am going to grab Zay Flowers and hope they don't trade for Debo. I'm going to get my Lamar Jackson and Zay stack. Just talking it through. The boomers will puke though once they see Achane going ahead of Jacobs and Henry. I don't know, man. I think that one's even entrenched. I haven't seen what FFPC ADP is, but I have a feeling Achane will still be going well ahead. Maybe you're not crazy, Josh. Maybe by the time August rolls around and everyone's talked themselves out of Achane, maybe the Dolphins add another back. That would be a good one to track. It does definitely skew toward underdog drafters, really prioritizing the upside. It's the classic efficiency, high value touch versus projectable volume battle. And I wouldn't be surprised to see those guys converge. Uh-oh. The Eagles fans are coming after me with their pitchforks. I think they're both fine. I mean, they're both going in the same range. I'm just kind of surprised that the market prefers Hurts over Lamar. Cody mentioning the Ravens lost a couple O-line as well, right? Hoosier says Gus's over-under TDs is 10.5 and Barkley's is 9.5. Gus's over-under is for the Chargers, though. What is Derrick Henry's? Isn't Henry's? Weren't Barkley and Henry similar? I think it was on the Legendary Upside podcast. I think it was Daniel Raz had pulled up the TD expectancy for Barkley, Henry, and Jacobs, and they were all pretty similar. I think this is actually probably the salient point from Omega King, that a lot of the Jalen Hurts stuff is being pulled up by the A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, that it's anchored. A.J. Brown, late round 1 ADP, lines up with Jalen Hurts in the late third, and then Devonta Smith, so you get a lot of double taps there. Yeah, this would be a very fun data project. If any of you who did the Best Ball Data Bowl last year, I love this comment from Cody. Someone quantify stacking gravity. I can already see the title of that post. How stacking gravity impacts ADP. My column. Someone do that study. That'd be very cool. And then the other part of that study, because we were talking about it with the Joe Burrow stuff last episode, right? Where I think it really does happen to those pocket quarterbacks who don't run a ton. Their ADPs are almost entirely artificially boosted by the stacking partners. And I think on those guys, you see the biggest range in their ADPs. I remember that happening with Aaron Rodgers a ton last year, where the band on Aaron Rodgers, like where he would go, he would go anywhere from 105 to, I remember taking him at like 140 in some drafts, because it basically would be, if the Garrett Wilson drafter goes in another direction and doesn't feel the need, then you're like, maybe the Allen Lazard guy is going to try to tap Lazard Rodgers, but you would see a major like deviation on that ADP for those pocket passers that's specifically driven by the stacking partners, which honestly makes sense. Like that tracks. We know the correlation is a boost. When you have a player on their existing team, it makes that quarterback more valuable. So it should be on an adjustable thing. It's just an interesting, sociological experiment within the anchoring bias effect of the ADP market, which tends to lock those guys in. But the one thing that snaps people out of it, of being like, okay, no, I'm not going to take the guy at the top of the queue, is in fact whether you are able to stack them or not. Playoff Rondo, is Fields getting drafted still? He definitely is. He is definitely getting drafted still. Well, much too high. We were saying earlier, like right now his ADP is QB 18, and he should probably be down in the QB 30 plus range. All right, let's see if T-Dow wants to give me Mark Andrews. Are you going to slow roll troll me with this? God damn it. Of course. Man, Andrews at 59 double stacked with Lamar would have been sick. I'm not tilting. All right, we're going to just draft all around my comfort zone here. I do not believe I've taken Kenneth Walker in a draft either. Maybe once. I have been liking Charbonnet. Yeah, I do not have any Kenneth Walker. So we grabbed Kenneth Walker. This is the team. Well, we will recap after this 6th round pick here. We'll go ahead and grab George Kittle, or have we already done enough detours where we might get You know what? I don't know if I've taken a lot of Brian Thomas. One share of Brian Thomas? Sure. Let's do Brian Thomas. Seems good. I was going to do a tight end. I almost always do tight ends in that spot, but this is my live a little draft, doing a construction I don't normally do. So I have a 1-2-3, no tight end build. Lamar Jackson at quarterback, Jahmyr Gibbs and Kenneth Walker at running back, wide receiver Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, and Brian Thomas Jr. Who's you've been willingly passing on Andrews to stack Bateman and Aguilar? I mean, we're all well accustomed to the break glass in case of emergency stacking plans. I mean, you're talking to a guy who just drafted Khalif Raymond. But I don't know about willingly passing on him. Man, that Mark Andrews at pick 59 would have felt real nice. Sammy, this is true. That is the one thing going for Justin Fields versus Russell Wilson, is that if you were placing bets on which one of them was more likely to be the quarterback in week 17, it's Fields. But this is something I've gotten better on. Like old Pete 2 years ago, the guy who would chase Trey Lance up draft boards, he would still be, tacking on or drafting Justin Fields for that week 17 upside. But when you read Leone's Best Ball Manifesto and you see the impacts of dead roster spots on your roster, it's just, it's pretty devastating to your overall advance rate, to your chances of getting there. And then even if you do get there, being right on it. And the other thing too is, like, we could have this conversation when he is going at QB 32, especially when you have the extra 2 rounds in the big board. Maybe you have a little bit more room to play with. Maybe you drafted George Pickens. You need a third QB and all of the stars align, but he's not going at QB 32 right now. He's QB 18. So I think we're a long ways away from having that conversation. He's obviously going to fall, but I'm guessing he's not ever going to fall far enough to even realistically do that. Yeah, I do like Likely. I've taken Likely a good bit. No Kenneth Walker. I just got my first. This is my 16th draft. Too busy drafting tight ends at the 5-6 turn. I might have to do a bathroom break, guys. You might have to hold down the fort for me for a few minutes after this 7-8 turn pick. Mark Andrews, one of the best 5th round picks. Hey, I agree. And he's even one of the best late 5th round picks if you can get him in this draft. I think what I'm pissed about with T-Dubs, are you in the chat, Tito? It was the slow roll. It was bleeding the clock down. I guess I don't know what would make me more upset, to know if you stepped away and got auto-drafted Mark Andrews because he was at the top of the queue, or if you purposefully slow-rolled me on stream knowing I would have loved to complete that double stack at an ADP value. Ryan actually had to do work this morning. Very rude. So GM, ladies and gents. Oh, I just remembered something. I'm going on Denny's podcast later this afternoon. Oh, he deleted the tweet. Oh no, I posted it twice. Here it goes. I meant to retweet this. He has his show, Dad Season. And now that I have officially had the sex one time, I'm allowed to go talk about dad things. So if you want to watch that, that's going to be at 1:30 p.m. Eastern today over on Denny's Dad Season YouTube channel. All right, what are we going to do here? Am I going to finally take a tight end, or does Tito? My new bit is calling him a different name every time. It's for the audio listeners. It's TDOWBS. How do we think it is actually? T-Doubs? T2 WBS. I mean, there's virtually, he's just auto drafting. All right, I am going to take Evan Ingram as my first tight end here. I don't mind Evan Ingram. No Calvin Ridley, I think, is a pretty nice boost to his projection there. It's not like a guy like Gabe Davis is going to be stealing a ton of his underneath targets. He seems like a solid selection in this range. All right. This feels like a running back pick. Should I do it? Should I take Tony Pollard? I thought Tony Pollard's ADP was going to rise, and he's been falling in drafts. I'm not even a Tony Pollard guy. I don't have any other stacking stuff I need to do right now. I'm going to take Tony Pollard. Man, who am I? Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Tony Pollard. All right, I'll be right back. This is what I'm going to do. We're gonna briefly change away from the Ducks because I know how this works. When you're in the streaming biz, if you lose people's attention for just 1 sec, you'll never get them back. So this is how I'm going to retain high viewer retention while I go to the bathroom because I can't hold my coffee anymore. We're going to play a little dance pop, okay? I want you guys all to rock out for a few minutes. No, it won't be a few minutes. I'll be right back. I think my music trick worked. We didn't lose any draft. We didn't lose any viewers. The ultimate babysitter. You just throw that track on. Did you guys have a party while I was gone? I'm not that desperate. I'm not that desperate to hold viewers. Chris wants me to get a piss bottle. I don't think I've ever done. Have I ever done the piss bottle? I don't think I have. Lance says I drafted one of his dynasty squads. Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Flowers, and the 105 in 1 QB, which could be Brian Thomas. I like it. There you go. Copper, grow up. All right. Let's see where we're at here. We got a 1-3-3-1 build through 8 rounds. Lamar Jackson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Tony Pollard. Wide receiver Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, Brian Thomas. Tight end Evan Ingram. We're gonna need to start drafting some wide receivers. Why would I need a bottle? David says you call yourself a piss boy and you've never done the piss bottle. I piss on draft boards, bud. Give me a draft board. I'll piss all over it, man. I don't need no bottle. Only point of pissing into a bottle is so then you can dump that bottle over a draft board. All right. I think this is my last coffee pour. I think I got enough in here for one more for the home stretch. That was a nice hearty pour. All right, Zack Moss goes pick 100. Flips Chase Brown in this draft. Yeah, what is that? What is the ADP on those? Are those guys converging? Is Zack Moss going to flip Chase Brown in ADP? Do we think that's where we're headed? 105.9 for Chase Brown. Zack Moss 114.5. But in this draft right now, Zack Moss just went ahead of him. All right, everyone's calling it. Zack Moss flipping Chase Brown. Damn, Reed Spencer didn't let me play the hits. I was ready to run to the podium to select Xavier Worthy. Tito going to bleed the clock again. I'm now just convinced he's auto drafting. Okay, he takes Chase Brown. I guess I'm gonna take Cortland Sutton. I'm surprised Cortland Sutton is getting cheaper post Jerry Jeudy. It's not like my favorite click in the world, but Cortland Sutton at 107 when I need wide receivers. Normally I have 4 or 5 through 100. He's my fourth guy there. No, we're going to just Chipsy says, are we stacking Sutton with Stidham? We're just going to continue selecting JJ McCarthy and hope to complete one NFL draft stack. I missed out on all of the Troy Franklin buzz early. So now I'll get my cheaper Troy Franklin. We're going to grab him at 110, get some more rookies in here. These are two rookies that I haven't drafted a ton of, much less together. That's how you know you're sick, when you're thinking about your combinatorial ownership of Brian Thomas Jr. and Troy Franklin on your 16 big board drafts. There's no way I'm going to max this year. McVibe said, are you going to max this with slow drafts this year? I'm holding strong. I'm not doing any slow drafts. I could see myself. I do have an OCD mentality. Like, I would like to get to a nice, clean, round number. Like, in my head, getting to 50 drafts sounds nice. But how I realistically get there, I would need a few multi-table sessions, I think. I've been enjoying my doing just stream drafts and cardio club drafts. We're ramping up. I didn't jump in like I did last year, because I know once the NFL draft comes, we'll just be drafting around the clock. The amount of contests that we're going to have on Underdog this summer is going to be something to behold. So I'm doing a warm-up lap right now. Doing a warm-up lap. $47 slows going. First of all, Copper's not a reliable narrative. Whenever he says how many drafts he's done or hasn't done or is currently in the progress of completing, I don't believe him. But if he were hypothetically doing 47 slows at once, I would pray for you. Oh, wait, you're out on slow drafts. I feel like I've said this 100 times now, but I will say it again. Right now I have a rule for myself where I am only drafting on stream or while doing cardio. It's my personal rule. No one else has to play by the same rules, but it's working for me right now. Yeah, this is the same thing. Copper says, I hypothetically don't have time to sit at my desk for an hour after putting the daughter to bed. Yeah, I leave my phone down here probably at around 8 p.m. Maybe we've been still watching movies, almost through all the Oscar noms. Watched Holdovers over the weekend. Really like that one. If you guys didn't see that one, the Alexander Payne movie with Paul Giamatti. Enjoyed that. About halfway through American Fiction. I believe that script won best, was it adapted screenplay, I think? Pretty cool story. The guy who wrote that, American Fiction, Cord Jefferson, used to be the editor-in-chief and one of the bloggers over at Gawker. A win for one of us bloggers, getting to crack the Hollywood elite. Anyways, so been watching movies, and then I've been reading at night. So no drafting, no phones. We're doing the P.O. Box Book Club if you guys want to join us. I'm going to have a special treat. Haven't announced this yet, but I'm going to have guest curators for our April selections. One, Mr. Davis Maddock and Patrick Laird are going to be selecting our book choices for April. And I'm hopefully going to announce those in this Friday's newsletter. If you guys aren't subscribed to my P.O. Box newsletter, I would love if you guys did that. Free newsletter I drop every Friday in your inbox. I just dropped it in the chat here. You can get subscribed very quickly, and then you'll get all of it. All right, Trevor Lawrence, 15 picks past ADP, stacked up with Evan Ingram. Sure. That sounds good to me. That sounds good. Feels like a spot to grab another wide receiver after this pick. We'll see what Golf does. Just out of did Gabe Davis already go? Wow. Yeah, Gabe Davis going at 125. I was going to take Dontavian Wicks. Man, I don't think I can bring myself to click Jerry Jeudy, so I'm glad he goes. Should we get a rookie running back in this room? We definitely need more wide receivers as well. But yeah, let's play the ADP a little bit. I'm going to grab Jalen Wright. I'm going to grab Jalen Wright to go along with Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Tony Pollard. Then I'll probably end up with a thinner running back room, at least by quantity, at 4 running backs right now. Thank you, Tyler. Pete's newsletter, cured by boredom in butt warts. Yeah, that is one of the things I do forget to advertise. We've taken care of lots of skin conditions via the P.O. Box newsletter. What are my sources at UD saying about a big board superflex? I would love to bullshit and pretend like I have some hot info on the street, but I have not heard anything about that. Although you reminded me, I did actually want to mention Numi in Hope. I wanted to put out a request. Could we get a mid to high stakes, let's say $50 to $150 3 max pre-NFL draft tournament? Doesn't have to be big. We'll all fill it. I will help fill it. Wouldn't that be fun? How about $100 3 max? We'll call it the biggest board. The biggest board. Maybe just like a couple thousand entries. Super smooth payout structure. Who says no? Hope? Numi? Can we get that? Similar to how you guys were just spitting out the dailies during football season? Huge boards. Yeah, do it, Hope. All right, see, the chat loves it. I think Numi was at like a bachelor party this past weekend. Numi, when you're done chugging your Pedialyte and liquid IV and doing all of the other hangover cures we talked about earlier, can you guys spin us up? A $50 plus. I'll even take a single entry. I will, but a 3 max would be dope. How about we split the difference? A $75 3 max? It sounds fun. Ooh, this is a good one. Do you know if and when the Best Ball Hub will be updated to use for 2024? Yeah, I've been talking with the Fantasy Life peeps. We are going to have a lot of new developments as well for that. Some new features, a lot of stuff being added. I do not know the go live date on that. My guess would be after the NFL draft once that starts. But if there's any updates on that, I will be sure to pass those along. And yeah, I'm excited about the added functionality coming to the Fantasy Life Best Ball Hub. Paul, the flatboard double up. This is going to sound like a David Kitchen-esque story, but it is real. Yesterday, Lauren and I let me do these picks and then I'll tell this story that your comment made me think of. So we're about to pick in the 13th round. We're at a 2-4-5-1. Justin Fields still at the top of the board via ADP. Chris G on the clock, has not selected a tight end yet. He takes Brandon Cooks. Joshua Palmer goes. We have to take Xavier Legette here. We absolutely have to. There we go. We're finally up to 6 wide receivers. Adam Thielen, be gone, Satan. Be gone. When did Aaron Rodgers go? I was going to try to stack. Okay, he went at 142, so I would have had to take him. Yeah, I thought if I got a streaming deal on Aaron Rodgers, I could have entertained it. But I think with this build, I'm good with 2 quarterbacks, Lamar, Trevor Lawrence. What do we want to do here? Should we just keep ripping it in on wide receivers? I actually don't have that much Ricky Pearsall. I could also do tight end. You know what? I'm going to do Michael Mayer. I have not selected him yet. And I kind of like Michael Mayer. Get another younger tight end in here with Evan Ingram. And tight end, to me, really falls off a cliff after Michael and Kate Otten there. Okay, here was the story I was going to say, the double up comment. So Lauren and I, we took April on this, there was like this little hike, and then I knew of this playground kind of near where we used to live. And we get to the playground, we're playing around, and there's this couple, and they have a younger girl and a newborn, and they have a dog, and April's petting the dog, and we're talking to him. And the guy goes, I think we had been talking to them for a little while, and then they were leaving, and he goes, "Love your stuff, Cash Game King." I said, "What?" And sure enough, randomly at a park, this guy, and what was funny too is I had it was kind of cold, it was windy, I had my hood on, I had my hat, I had my sunglasses, and yeah, he recognized the Cash Game King and then said, "You beat me in the week 17 or week 18 head-to-head." He had sent me a head-to-head, and I had defeated him. So yeah, I will see if we can get the double up going here for the flatboard double up and get back to our Cash Game King ways. Ricky Pearsall goes at 162, so I guess that dream has died. Is this Paul's burner here? Conklin is a smash. Only real ones, only OGs will get that reference. We have to be coming up on like the 1-year anniversary of that, right? Because that was a big board live stream, probably around this time. We were probably on the 1-year anniversary of my mega tilt on Paul taking an unstacked Tyler Conklin because he had an AFC East stack going. Exactly. Gotta correlate Conklin with the Chargers. I think I'm too mellowed out now. I'm trying to think what could get me that worked up. I think it was the deceptiveness of the snipe. Like, obviously, I'm not gonna freak out when Mark Andrews goes past ADP and doesn't fall back to me. There was just something of like, no one else on the planet should care about Tyler Conklin right now except the Aaron Rodgers drafter. And then I forgot that Paul had his, beautiful mind correlation matrix up, was connecting the dots. Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. Anybody else reaching or reheating a single bunless hot dog for lunch? I kind of want to unpack this. I understand having a single hot dog, single bun. I guess I'm confused. And reheating it. I feel like if you're down so bad that you're just going to have a hot dog bun. Oh, no, sorry. Bunless. Okay, that's not as bad. I thought you were heating up a hot dog bun and eating that. That's not that bad. That's not bad. The inverted was... Not Paul, I'm inverted. The inverted was more disturbing to me. I don't know. You're just getting your meat. Just think of it like a meat stick. Do with that what you will, chat. All right. We are about to pick at 179. When was the last time I had a hot dog? I like bratwurst. Some Italian sausage is good every now and again. Some spicy mustard. Wow, look at the duality of man. I did bring homemade focaccia, so it's not too bad. Look at this. A man of the people eating his bunless hot dog and a man of culture with his homemade focaccia. What's the latest on Zay Jones, guys? Is he going to return? Or am I getting Rico Dowdled here? Am I going to select Zay Jones and you're going to go, not technically on the Jags? Are they going to re-sign Zay? Are they bringing him back? Can I complete my double stack? Please tell me I can complete my double stack. We're at a 2-4-7-2 build through 15 rounds, about to pick in the early 16th. Definitely need to keep throwing darts at wide receiver. Could use some running backs. I can't do this Rico Dowdle thing. If you guys are also down on Rico Dowdle, why does Pat have him here at 176? This is one of those teams where I end up having to take Tank Bigsby for team level correlation, isn't it? Devontae Walker. I also haven't taken a ton of Jatavian Sanders. Walker or Sanders? I'm going to grab Walker. All right, here's the squad. I feel like we've attempted to recover at wide receiver. We only had 3 wide receivers through 10 rounds. We now have Lamar Jackson and Trevor Lawrence. We have Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Tony Pollard, and Jalen Wright at running back. Wide receivers, Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, Brian Thomas Jr., Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin, Xavier Legette, Zay Jones, and Devontae Walker. Tight end, Evan Ingram, and Michael Mayer. RB, bro. You need RB. Don't you know? Man, when I take 3 running backs in the first 86 picks, I mean, this is like, for me, adjusted, this is like starting your draft with 3 running backs. Jahmyr Gibbs, in the reality of which I've drafted this team, Jahmyr Gibbs is the RB1 overall. Kenneth Walker is a top 7 running back. And Tony Pollard's like a top 20 running back. Don't worry. I'll draft Dylan Loeb. The crowd will go wild. What was really demonstrated growth was letting someone else select Rashad Bateman. That's how you know that I'm a new man. I thought for sure, I am stunned because I thought for sure Tony Pollard was going to move up draft boards. Like, everyone was talking about him after it, loving the fit. And I've been surprised now to see him drop in drafts, because I thought I'm for sure out on Tony Pollard in the 6th or whatever. But Tony Pollard in the 8th? I mean, all right. I guess I'm a Tony Pollard slappy with the rest of them. All right, so we got 4 more slots here. We're at a 2-4-8-2. I think we're done at quarterback. I think we're probably taking 2 more running backs. Probably 2 more running backs, 1 more wide receiver, 1 more tight end. Is this the thing? Ronnie Rivers in the 20th every time? I'm sorry, I can't get excited for Ronnie Rivers. Copper took him at 7th in the 7th round. JJ likes Isaiah Davis. Are people Isaiah Davis over Ray Davis? Or Ray Davis is already gone? Man, I even missed out on my Keaton Mitchell. Normally, I like to grab him when I have Lamar. Where did Keaton Mitchell go? Pick 170, 15th round. Is he starting to move up in ADP? Yeah. Oh, he just went early in this one. He has an ADP of 177 and went, I guess at 170, not that much earlier, but still. This is wild. Brian says, Jeremiah and Brugler both just tweeted, don't be surprised if Neighbors is wide receiver 1 off the board. Man, I know he's a really good prospect. It just seems like a little bit of gal braining to take him over. All right, I need to make a pick here. All right, let's grab Izzy first. Izzy, Abanikanda. We do have Garrett Wilson. So we'll grab that Jets 2nd string running back. I believe Izzy, fun fact, I believe Izzy was my most drafted player in the big board last year. I should actually go double check that if I can. I'll tell you what, I'm impressionable. I keep just wanting to boost my Jalen McMillan exposure, so I'm going to grab him again. I want to see if are you able to see exposures for, let's see. Let me go find this from last year. The big board. Okay. Here we go. Oh no, it's only showing 2023 pre-draft best ball. So it's only showing my exposure on the 2. Are you not able to see your original exposure? Oh, here we go. Or this is for the semifinals. It looks like I have to go back to You got to go to weeks 1 through 14 pre-draft. Thank you. Oh, yeah, that's week 15. We keep scrolling. Thank you, Chipsy. Here we go. Here we go. All right, let's see the exposure. Okay, so he wasn't quite. Of course, it was Chuba, Marvin Mims, Cedric Tillman, Izzy, Tajay Spears. Yeah, so Izzy Abanikanda was my second most drafted. I put $290 smackaroos on Izzy Abanikanda in the pre-big board, and now we're back drafting him again. I don't think that would have solved my problem, Hoosier, because that would have means I would have gone and exported the old big board CSV, which I don't know if I would have ever had any reason to do that. So we have 2 more picks here. 2592. I'm done. I think I'm done with wide receiver. We're going to do, who is your guys' favorite late round tight end? I'll read you off your options. Davis Allen, who I still refuse to believe is a real person. Zach Ertz, refuse to believe he's still in the league. Dawson Knox, refuse to believe he's still going after Dalton Kincaid. Ben, a man with many last name pronunciations, Sanat. Darren, I may or may not be retired Waller. Mike, don't forget I now play with Joe Burrow Gesicki. Greg, don't forget that Nathaniel Hackett once loved me. Dulcich. Tanner, I literally have never heard of him in my life. McLaughlin. Cade, Stover. Theo, I'm an athletic freak with no production. Johnson. Donald, breaking the PSM model. Parham Jr. Jelani, don't forget I played basketball in College Woods. Colby, the real Davis Allen, please stand up. Parkinson. Gerald, I'm now in a timeshare with Cole Kmet Everett. Hayden, I didn't even know you played for the Chargers. Hurst. Daniel, the true tight end 1 on the Giants. Bellinger. Will, the heir to the throne in Los Angeles. Disley. Irv, I once was so much more than this. Smith Jr. Tommy, I'm Kitchen's favorite player. Tremble. Man. You guys want me to take Parkinson? All right. I didn't know. Where's all this Parkinson love coming from? Can I get it in? Can I spell it quick? No, he's already gone, guys. Now I'm getting auto-drafted. This is a disaster. Did I get Ben in time? I just got auto-drafted Elijah Moore because someone sniped me on Colby Parkinson. What in God's green earth just happened? This is disgusting. I'm tilting. I'm going to rage click Greg Dulcich. Who took Colby Parkinson? Gee, God damn it. Was that really necessary? I'm rage selecting Greg Dulcich. I hate this. I am so pissed off at my final 2 picks. But honestly, Elijah Moore is probably running ahead of Jerry Jeudy. Come on. Great pick. Did this team really need 10 wide receivers? Chris G taking Colby Parkinson. I guess he had Matthew Stafford, right? Yep. Oh, gee. I mean, Tyler even sent a super chat about Colby Parkinson, and G had to take him. Chris, you need to refund Tyler his $2.69. Can you review my team? Nope. I need to start becoming a businessman. Only YouTube members get to request to have their team reviewed. Got to draw the line down. Next thing you know, every random person in the chat's going to ask me to recap their team. I got to put some kind of premium on my time. Yeah, G is hungover. That's not even an allowed pick. Copper, shit, I really boxed myself. You're not in this draft. I already reviewed your team last. I even remember it. You took Jahmyr Gibbs at the 1-2 turn. God damn it. I can't believe I extended this offer for YouTube members. Chris G, who's hungover and sniping me on Colby Parkinson. Oh, that's Spags' team. Where's G? All right, G took Anthony Richardson. No, this just refreshed on me. I will review life decisions even if you're not a YouTube member. Where's G? Anthony Richardson and Matthew Stafford, Devon Achane, Josh Jacobs, Jaylen Warren, Zach Charbonnet, Ray Davis, Kenneth Gainwell. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp double stack. How cliche. Marquise Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, Jacoby Myers, Tyler Lockett, Brandon Cooks, Rashad Bateman, Demarcus Robinson. Did you think about drafting one young, fun, exciting, non-dusty wide receiver, Chris? That's my question for you. Were you so hungover that none of the rookies appeared in your draft applet this morning? And then, my God, this might be one of the grossest tight end rooms I've ever seen. Cade Otton, Colby Parkinson, and Jelani Woods. I hope you just name that hungover donation, Chris. I really do. All right. My team here on 3/18, the year of the Lord, draft number 16, on Best Ball Breakfast every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We drafted a 2-5-10-3 build. That was supposed to be a 2-6-9-3 build. Lamar Jackson and Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Tony Pollard, Jalen Wright, and Izzy Abanikanda. Kind of worried about your running backs, bro. Wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, Brian Thomas Jr., Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin, Xavier Legette, Zay Jones, Devontae Walker, Jalen McMillan, and Elijah auto-timed Moore because G took Colby Parkinson. What a phrase to say. The only time in the history of the world that phrase will be said. Elijah Moore because Chris G took Colby Parkinson. Tight end, Evan Ingram, Michael Mayer, and Greg, those beautiful locks, Dulcich. Get those fucking chat. Man, now I have to put explicit on it because I just read Tyler's chat word for word. When I upload this audio to the In a Vacuum podcast feed, I'm going to have to mark it as explicit. Get those fucking likes up, chat rats. We're getting real aggro and aggressive at the end of this stream. Yes, please hit the like button. Also, speaking of YouTube members, I did a show with Cooter Doodle on Saturday. Those shows are exclusive for YouTube members. If you become a Best Ball Value Hound, you get a few different things. You get the badges. You get your request fulfilled for me to review your team at the end of a draft. You get the Discord, private Discord channel within the Deposit Kingdom Discord when you sync your YouTube and Discord account. And best of all, you get the After Dark shows. Do those every Saturday night. Actually, I have some really fun guests lined up over the next couple of weeks as well. But check out the show with Cooter Doodle. And if you guys are audio people, I also post the link directly to the MP3 in the Best Ball Best Ball Breakfast channel within the Discord. I know some of you prefer to download that audio to your podcast app of choice, take that on the go so you can do that there. All of that with your YouTube membership. Appreciate you guys watching the stream. I'll be back later this week for more draft streams. I think we'll do the club tomorrow, probably draft again. And yeah, all of the usual stuff. And again, make sure you're subscribed to the Deposit Kingdom YouTube channel. Going to get that big board video up later this week. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you guys next time here on Best Ball Breakfast.